Hi everyone, my name is Paddy Lavelle and I'm the General Secretary of Education and Training Boards Ireland, the representative body for Ireland's 16 education and training boards which provide lifelong learning for all. Welcome to our series called The Future of Education and Training in Ireland. Each month I'll be having a short chat with leading experts from our sector and beyond to get their views, insights and predictions on the future of education and training in Ireland. Now, I'm delighted that we're here with the Secretary General of the Department of Education, who was appointed in February of 2022. And Bernie McNally started her career as an occupational therapist and then found her way into the civil service, where ultimately she became the Assistant Secretary in the Department of Children before her appointment to Secretary General in Education. Bernie, outside of the job, the Secretary General job, you have a family to go home to and you have passions of your own. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself in relation to the things that you treasure and find important?
Well, look, I have 3 children, all teenagers, young adults, which give me lots of joy and keep me busy outside of work. And I have 2 dogs, a beautiful Cavachon and a beautiful Labradoodle. I'm afraid the nature of SecGen's job is that it is very long hours. And in fact, probably every job I've done till now has been kind of long hours. But so I don't have a lot of hobbies, but I'm the youngest of 7 and I'm from Monaghan originally, and I like to get down there as much as possible and stay connected with friends and family.
When we're looking at the role of the Secretary General, she says that it's about developing the Department of Education so that the department leads and supports the system in delivering the best outcomes for children and young people. And we're interested in talking to you today, Bernie, about your perspective on the system. We have our little balcony view, we think, but you have a very good, decent view of the whole system. So can you tell us a bit about that and how is the job going since you started in February 23?
So it's going very well. It's early days. I'm there, I think, 10 months at this stage. Very privileged to be given the opportunity to do this work. And I'm very lucky with the team I have and all the stakeholders around the sector. It's been exceptionally busy and we've lots of challenges, some of which there's quick fixes for, but a lot of the challenges that we have are going to require a lot of time and effort and resource over the coming years. So good so far and lots ahead.
And when you're isolating challenges and you're saying there's things that I can do and there's things that I might not be able to do, what are the big challenges that you think you'll be able to make inroads on in your time as Secretary General?
Well, I would hope that we will be able to address all the challenges that we know of to a certain extent. So some of them we might see through to fruition. With others, it might be just the building blocks that we put in place. But there are a huge number of challenges, and to give you a flavour, and I'm hoping your colleagues will agree with this, some of the challenges include on special education. We've done a lot, but we have a lot more to do there. We have challenges around integration with the Ukrainian population, with international protection, more and more children and young people coming in. We have challenges around school leadership, governance, the workload, the pressures. As a department, there are huge demands being placed on us. It's only when I've come into the department that I've seen the massive operational outfit that we are, the huge operational work that's ongoing, as well as all the policy development and reform. So as a department, we also have to look at how we can best deliver on multiple challenges that are facing us.
So in your previous role, Bernie, as the Assistant Secretary in Department of Children, you were involved with youth and disability. And how would you see, when you come into education, the performance of the education sector compared to what you were able to do in the Department of Children and Youth?
But I think, we've heard the former Taoiseach talking about this. We have more to do in this country in the whole area of disability and special ed. We've achieved a huge amount. There's no doubt we've achieved a huge amount, and a lot of credit goes to ETBI schools and principals and their staff for the amount of work that has been done in that space. But we have a lot more to do, not just in terms of accessing places, and clearly we have a big challenge ahead of us in accessing mainstream places, special classes, and also some special school places. It's very important that we get places, but more importantly, that we offer those children and young people a really high quality and inclusive education. And as a system, I think we have more work to do to make sure that every teacher, every principal, every board of management feels that they have the competence, the skills, the confidence to really offer that to these children who have very complex needs. So we as a department with the National Council for Special Education will be working really closely with the sector over the coming years to really build that up.
So in the programme for government, there's a mention of 400 community national schools by 2030. And at this stage, it's coming into 2023. Do you think that's still a realistic target, or how do you think that will move for the next 7 years?
So look, it's an ambitious target. We always knew that, but some good work has been done. So we have about 165 schools that are multi-denominational. So about 5% of schools. The Catholic Church is still patron for about 89% of schools. So there's some good work done. We've used the opportunity of new schools to look at what the patronage should be, etc. Everybody's probably familiar with a pilot project that's happening around the country at the moment. So we've chosen certain towns or parts of cities. We've appointed facilitators, and it's very much a kind of a community-led working with the patrons, but also with the school community, with the principal, and then with parents in the local community to look at what that local community and what that school community want. We're going to learn from the pilot, and we're hoping that once the pilot has advanced a little bit more, that we will be able to find a way of doing this on a national level that works effectively. We'll really be taking feedback on board, good and bad, to design a pathway for looking at this and pushing this more over the coming years. So, and I'd very much encourage ETBs to be really part of that. I think one ETB has already made a presentation at one of the events and one of the areas on this. So we're encouraging that, and we're encouraging feedback. It's really important that local communities, school communities have really good information, accurate information, objective, factual information. And I'd encourage the ETBs to be very much part of that.
So the OECD talks about a school of the future, that it has goals that include well-being and learner agency. And what's the department's view of that, or where does the department see that school of the future?
So the department actually works very closely with the OECD and contributes to a lot of their work. And I would say we're well on the road in terms of that thinking. Like, we've long identified that we have a responsibility, not just around academic outcomes, but about outcomes around emotional well-being, social connectedness, life satisfaction. So the OECD is very much encouraging schools to move to having this focus. And I think a number of actions that the department has taken are helping schools. There's a number of schools that are already excelling in student voice and addressing well-being. So, you know, what are the actions we've taken? The wellbeing policy and framework that was published back in 2019. I think transition year, the introduction of transition year, and the strengthening now as part of the Minister's reform of the senior cycle, the strengthening of transition year, the new transition year statement that's going to be coming out soon, the reform within the senior cycle that is about more subject choice, reflecting that many young people have interests and preferences that some, you know, the curriculum to date hasn't fully addressed. Junior cycle, you know, we're often focusing on young people areas of interest, allowing them to develop team working skills, initiative, project management. So I think there has been a significant change. We as a department are really committed to strengthening the voice of children and young people and the voice of parents. The charter bill that's advancing, that's going to be a great opportunity when it's fully introduced for school communities to work with parents and children and young people in a really respectful partnership manner to focus more on the needs of those young people in that school, the outcomes that they're looking for, how we can support their well-being. So I think there's a lot of work underway, more to come, and congratulations to a number of schools out there who are really excelling in this already and really committed to developing.
So, Bernie, the Railth is a good example of where ETBs were given the job to coordinate a particular response in relation to the Ukrainian refugees coming into Ireland and to try and find capacity for them in schools. And that seems to have worked pretty well from the point of view of the ETBs. I'm just wondering, Do you think that from the department's point of view, it has worked well?
Well, look, first of all, can I say a huge thank you on behalf of the department, on behalf of the Minister, for what the rails have achieved. You know, the ETBs responded very quickly when we made the suggestion in the very early days of the Ukrainian crisis. And those teams were established fairly quickly and have done fabulous work. 13,500 children and young people in schools is a phenomenal result. And we're really appreciative to the rails, to the ETB leadership on it, but to all the various partners that sit in those teams and that have delivered so much. So in terms of the future, well, certainly in recent weeks, we've expanded the role to look at international protection as well as Ukraine. So I think that's a significant development. Even though numbers are small, there are some challenging issues there. So that's great. And I suppose I would be encouraging not just the ETBs and ETBI, but you know, all the various partners, schools, to think about how structures like that can help us with some of the thorny problems. Part of the reason for the success was there was a sense of urgency and there was a clear challenge that everybody wanted to sort out. So I think rather than the department dictating what the next option might be, is for ETBs and, as I said, other partners to look at what could we assist with? What are some of the issues that we could assist with? Because the model has worked.
So climate change by 2030 sets a lot of targets for us as a country, and in particular for education and training boards. And I'm just wondering how you think the Department of Education can help support ETBs as we head towards those targets.
Okay, well, can I start by thanking the ETBs for the collaboration that's happening? We have about 1,300 planning and building projects on the go at any one time, and we really rely on that partnership and cooperation with the ETBs. So thank you for that. And a particular thanks to Limerick and Clare ETB for the work that they're doing with us on climate. So we have worked very hard on this. We have a plan. We started our work in this area several years ago. And in fact, you know, new builds in recent times have achieved a very high BER rating. We aimed to exceed the regulations by 20 to 25% in terms of climate performance. So we will be continuing to work with ETBs, the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland. The work we're doing with them on the Pathfinder programme is really, really important. So we've about 48 schools finished, another 15 in progress at the moment, and we will be learning then from that project. Schools, we are future-proofing all our school developments now. So the ones that are at early stage of planning are being planned for the really, really top quality. Those that are a bit more advanced, we're going to deal with on a case-by-case basis. We're not going to be regressive. We absolutely are going to be progressive. But at the same time, if we need a school urgently because of demographics, we don't want to unduly delay a school to put in the absolute, you know, top technology, let's say, to deal with climate change. So we will work with those school authorities on a case-by-case basis to ensure that what we do is future-proofed and that we can add a further incremental improvement easily at a later stage if needs be, if we can't do it all in the one go at this moment in time.
So Bernie, looking towards 2023, what do you think that you'd like to see achieved by the end of the year?
Well, it's a very timely question. Our minister's just been reappointed. So that's a conversation we're going to be having with the minister over the next days and weeks. As a management board, we've also been looking at this. There are so many actions, there's so much work we have to do in 2023, but we know that we also have to identify priorities and make them and deliver on them. So there's lots of them, but I think special education is absolutely there in terms of ensuring that every child has an appropriate school place in mainstream, special class or special school, and that the workforce is feeling supported, that the CPD that is required is available. Senior cycle reform is a big priority. The minister's policy has been made clear and lots of work has already been achieved. There's a lot of work that's been done to meet what the minister has set out, but clearly we have a lot more work to do on that, and that is certainly a priority. We talked about well-being earlier. That is a huge priority of the department, and people will be aware that the minister negotiated funding for primary schools in terms of some mental health supports. So getting that rolled out. Some of the cost of living measures, the free school books, ensuring that that's delivered out to school in good time for September 23. So there are lots of priorities, and we are going to work, I think, fairly smartly to ensure that we have a good focus in 23 on what's really important.
Listen, thanks very much for sharing this time with us, and I know that it'll be very valued among the ETB community. So thank you very much.
Thank you.